Check it out, my new ride. This arrived just the other day. It arrived in a big box, as is, ready to roll, no assembly needed, though there were a few bolts that did need a bit of a nip up. Yeah, that needed doing, but other than that, it's pretty much a ready to run machine. I can tell there's going to be a shit ton of people asking me, where can they buy it, how much does it cost, and all the rest of it. Now, as far as I'm aware, there's no website available to buy this. I bought it from a wholesaler, a guy called Silas, or that's his English name that he's going by anyway, at Sea Otter ATV. It's a place in China, of course, and he was good enough to deal with me, sell me this and ship it over to me in Perth, Australia. As for how much it cost, for some reason I had it in my head it cost me more than a Zoliatha kart, but no, this was actually just marginally cheaper, especially when you factor in shipping costs. This was cheaper, so it was a pretty good deal. I'm happy with it. For what I've got here, I've only taken it for a short test drive, like 1 minute in the dark the other night when it arrived, and then I'm sort of going through it now, trying to document a bit of a video so that everyone else can get an idea of what comes with the car, or what it's included, and whether it's suitable for them, sort of thing. I'll put up a screenshot of some comparisons between this thing and the Zoliatha Mountain Tiger, the Mountain Tiger in particular, because there's a few things in common between that kart and this one. Obviously they're both full suspension karts. They got the double wishbone at the front, the 4-link suspension at the back. They also have the transaxle. I don't know if the Zoliatha is actually a differential. From my understanding it is, but this one is not. I did actually raise the back end up on this and try and individually turn the back wheels, but it's a solid axle, it's not a differential, so this is just a straight transaxle. It came with no instructions, no documentation, no papers, no nothing to come with it, so I've had to work everything out on it. Not that was particularly hard, but one thing that I wasn't too sure of was the battery. For some reason I thought it was a 60 volt battery, and I had to double check with the manufacturer because they sent a charger for a 72 volt battery. Turns out the battery is 72 volts, so I was good to go and charge that up and plug it in before I blew something up, in particular my house or this warehouse. I'd rather not. This is, of course, the production version of a prototype that was made in China. I do have a few pictures and videos of the one that was the prototype, and there's a few variations, a few differences. The prototype had the electric motor mounted up here, and then run an axle out the back, a drive shaft out the back to the axle, and then it was nice and light on the rear end rather than having the motor mounted on the axle like that. One of the other things I did notice was a little different, was the track of the prototype. This one here is slightly narrower than the prototype as far as I'm concerned, and there might be a few other minor differences between this and the prototype, but for the largest part the suspension setup is really the same, and that's the main point of getting this kart is that suspension. It's like I say, it's plush. It's even got the sway bar here, so I did note that when I was rolling around on this, that this bar here, that can roll a bit with the tension on the sway bar, so it'll go down on this side and up on the other side over there, particularly when you're rolling the whole chassis. I might remount this into the middle of this suspension arm, just to try and reduce some of that roll happening, and the sway bar doesn't actually get to do its job, sort of thing. As mentioned before, there was no instructions that came with it or otherwise. It took a bit of working out. I used translation to work out all these buttons because they've got Chinese characters on them. They're pretty simple: horn, light, mode, 1, 2, 3 mode, reverse. I think that's what it is. No, reverse is over here. Anyways, the screen, the display, none of that's in Chinese, that's all English. But one of the weirdest things, I'll go and get the thing. Righto, back again. I just had to go and get the fantastical key. So it runs on, I guess you call it an immobilizer or a key fob. The receiver in there, I'm not sure where that is or how exactly it connects, whether it's part of the far driver, probably not, but either way, I had to work out it was 2 pushes to get it going. 1, 2, there we go. And you can see it lights up the screen there, and we're good to go then. And then to lock it, there's I don't know if it shows up in the video there, but there's an unlock, a middle button, and a lock button. The lock button doesn't seem to do anything, but when I need to lock it, or when I turn it off, I push the unlock button and off it goes. But to turn it back on again, I need 2 pushes of the center button. Right, I'll just go through some of the electronics. The battery is, as I mentioned before, 72 volt, is 68 amp hours. There is a larger one available for this buggy. It's even longer, supposedly 80 amp hours. I'll double check. I'll go and get one of my batteries later, because I think this seems like a very compact looking battery to me. The motor, as far as I can tell, is a no-name sort of 3000 watt motor. I don't really know where it's come from. I haven't seen this thing before. It's got some numbers on there, but either way, we'll see how that goes, whether it gets hot. I expect it will, particularly the way I drive and where I drive it. Up the front here, we've got the control box. In there we have an ND 72530. You can see the circuit breaker there, the step down module. Over there is in the corner, it's a bit dark to see, but there is that's the immobilizer, I'm guessing, that connects to the key fob. It's also got the horn and whatnot on it. And another thing that's on this box, this extra button here, I couldn't work out what that was, because I thought that would turn it on to start with, but no, there's actually a fan on the side here. So you can operate the fan by yourself with this button here. Depending on how warm it gets, I would suggest probably leaving it on all the time if you're going to drive it hard. I mean, I don't know why they would stuff all these, like in particular the controller in there, where it can't get any airflow. It really needs some. I would have done that differently, but anyway, that's me. Here's the battery comparison. What I've got here is the battery that I run in my little kart. It's a 72 volt, what was it, 52 amp hours. And it's, I mean, it looks bigger, to be honest. It just looks bigger, as opposed to this one underneath, which is apparently 68 amp hours. So it has more capacity, but is also smaller. I'm not saying that it's not real, but definitely seems a bit sus. Let's talk about the shocks. So I don't really know too much about shocks exactly. This one just looks like a standard spring. It's basic adjustment at the bottom there, one of those ones that you just click into place. This one here is a bit more technical. It's got a multi-rate spring here. You can see the difference there. It's also got a reservoir here and a threaded compression to increase this spring compression. And then it's got a rebound adjustment here, or I don't know if it's specifically rebound, to be honest. It could be just damping adjustment. You turn that one way or the other. I'm not sure what it's set to at the moment. I need to go through that. The front shocks also have an adjustment. I assume that's for damping down here. They look to have the same sort of variable spring rate on the spring, as in it's more coiled at one end, and then the threaded ring at the top for adjusting the spring pressure. I'll just mention the linkages on this car. I think they're actually quite beefy and quite good for the cart. If we have a look over here on my other carts, there's not many ball linkages on this particular cart, but you can see there, that's the front there. That's what I have here as an example to make comparisons. On the rear ends there's no ball linkages, rather it's a hinge, if you can see that down there. And then on the Sprinter 63, that's what this used to be before it was lighter. So these points here, the shocks are similar to what's mounted here at the 4-point linkage. They're obviously just bushings. They were rubber bushings, and I changed mine to hard plastic, and they're still wearing out. The ball joints on the front here, you can see they're a decent size. They're bigger than the steering linkages on the other cart. But if we go over here to the suspension cart, this one at the front here, it kind of dwarfs the little one, or this steering linkage. It's a decent size, and it's like that all over. It's got them at the back, and it's also got some decent linkages up here on the front as well. A couple of the little bits and pieces about the cart. The plug for the battery looks to be an Anderson plug. This particular size is good for 120 amps from memory, continuous, which is equivalent to a QS8. So there's a bit of a difference there. Being that size though, it is nice and easy to grab and to plug and unplug. Unlike on my other cart, I have a QS12, and that's slightly larger than the Anderson plug, and I have trouble unplugging it. Someone suggested I put lube in it, so I'll be doing that later. I think I mentioned before about the brakes. It has all 4-wheel brakes, which is a definite plus for me. In the one time I drove it on the bitumen in the dark, it does need a bit of pressure on the brake pedal to get them all to start pulling up hard, but it won't worry me too much, since I'll be off-road with it most of the time. And yeah, I can't wait to take it for a spin. So what you get for the money, I think, is pretty damn good. The quality, from what I can see, is pretty damn good. You get a lot of frame, a lot of cart, a lot of accessories, and it's definitely in the future, when it gets popular and people start buying these things, I can see it going up in price, just like the Zoliatha did, only this one will go up even more so. If you have questions, if there's something I didn't answer for you, just leave a comment. I'll get back to you fairly quickly, since my channel's only tiny anyways. All good. Enjoy. Alright, I just got back from the first decent test drive, technically the second, because I went for about 1 minute the other night when it first arrived, but this one I took it out in the dirt. A couple of things to mention. My homemade selfie stick didn't last the distance. That was a bit of a catastrophe. And a few other things. The battery brace or bracket, the hold down bolts here come loose, so I'm wondering whether I should be using this foamy shit or something a bit more solid to strap it down with. Luckily I didn't lose the battery, it's still on the back here. Yeah, so that was an almost disaster. And the other thing was, I did notice it was not necessarily bottoming out, but getting so low in the back ends that the tyres were rubbing on something. My brother did mention this to us. He reckoned, oh, you're going to bottom out with how soft that is. And whilst I didn't notice it necessarily bottoming out, as I say, the tyres were rubbing on something. And I don't know if it's showing up in the camera too well there, but yeah, rubbing across here. Same on the other side. Rubbing across here. Otherwise, top speed was actually less than I was expecting. I thought it might get up to 60, but that's 60 kilometres an hour, by the way, not 60 mile. Jesus. Wouldn't want to go 60 mile an hour in this. The speed, whilst it didn't feel super fast, it was still super comfortable going over the rough stuff. The steering wasn't too bad. I wouldn't mind if it was a little bit more responsive on the steering wheel, but it was pretty good really. The sidebars, having my legs rest on there because I've got long ass legs, that was pretty comfortable. Moving through the rest of the sand, it floated over sand really well, and generally it was a nice ride. It was very comfortable, as you would expect. Well, one would hope so with suspension like that anyway. I'll update a bit more when I find out. I'll leave it at that as a part one. In part two, I'll probably try and get a few more action shots, and I'll try and connect the far driver to the app, see if I can get some readings from the far driver, as in what sort of power it's pulling, the revs that the motor's doing and stuff like that. That video will probably be a bit shorter than this one. This one was quite a long one. I hope you enjoyed it.